Hello everyone, I have a battle replay today of the High Elves versus Bretonnia, so old world beats the new, a royal dispute, prince versus king. We'll see how it turns out, but I'm going to kind of dedicate this video to why you don't bring any air units versus High Elves, or if you do, just to be very careful with them, because, it used to be the Bretonnians are the air superiority race, so the air supremacy, they had the Air Force to beat down anybody else, but I feel like they just kind of lost out on that today. I'm not sure if it's because these guys weren't Royal Pegasus Knights, or if it's because he wasn't on his special mount Baquis. I'm not sure how you'd say the name, or just a regular Hippogriff. But the King and these Pegasus Knights don't do so well against my Star Dragon. You'll see why in a little bit. So let's go ahead and look at my opponent's army. It's got 3 units of Battle Pilgrims, 4 units of Foot Squires, the Lore of Lifecaster with Regrowth only, and Life Bloom. Over here, some Questing Knights who actually have the same combat stats in my White Line as my White Lines of Trace, except they hit harder and have double the charge bonus right here. So 42 and 45 weapon damage compared to the 34 and 22, but their combat stats are the same, 38 and 36, but that's with Martial Prowess popped on these White Lines of Trace. So if they ever go below 50% HP, these guys will actually have better combat stats. So one-on-one, if these guys charge the White Lines of Trace, they'll win in prolonged melee combat. And then over here, we have the questing, go. There we go. The Knights of the Realm and some Grail Knights. And Grail Knights actually got a change. So did everybody, honestly, with the Blessing of the Lady. Not just these guys, but King Leon Kurtu. They have... The Blessing of the Lady is a one-time use ability. So as soon as the game starts, it gets used, right? That's it. No more. And then if they rout, they lose that 20% physical resistance. And they always still have that immune to psychology, though. So it's going to be very hard to get them off the field because they have such high leadership. So it'll stay for a very long time, but it can be lost. So that's something to keep in mind whenever you're using these guys, or the king himself. You don't want them to rout. You want them to be there for as long as possible without routing. If you have to pull them out, so be it, because it's going to be more useful to get them out and put them back in after their leadership is more under control. So for my unit right here, my army, we have 4 units of Lothern Sea Guard without shields, 2 units of Phoenix Guard, and then 4 units of White Lines of Trace. And if you don't know, they have a bonus versus large of... let's see here, 16 on these guys and 20 on the Phoenix Guard, and I believe that a bonus versus infantry or bonus versus large actually counts as armor-piercing damage. So these guys actually have 55 total armor-piercing damage against... 45 armor-piercing damage. It's math, right? It's early in the morning. 45 armor-piercing damage versus large targets, which is nothing to sneeze at. That's really, really hard hitting. So these Questing Knights would get torn up if they decided to charge these guys, because on top of that, they have 100 armor, great melee stats. Charge defense versus all, and cause fear, and 30% physical resistance. These guys are no joke. They'll stand up to anything they want. And that's gonna be about it. Over here, Dwellers Below, Lifeblood, get out of the way. Lifeblood and Earthblood, and Life Bloom. That's what it was. So now we're gonna kind of position our units right here to kind of zone out these cavalry. I thought they would just kind of be held off if I started focusing them down with my archers right here, and I kind of backed them up with the Phoenix Guard just in case infantry decided to get into the mix. I can like counter push with the Phoenix Guard, or just use the Phoenix Guard to just totally mop the floor of the Knights of the Realm. But these guys would do pretty well against any cavalry that charges them, because they have a charge defense versus large, and also have that great bonus versus large as well. But I start getting a little bit worried because they start pushing out wide on my flank. So I'm like, all right, we're gonna come back a little bit and zone. And right here, a breath attack hits the king right in the face. He's gonna take about 500 damage, not a whole lot, about 10% of his HP. And then immediately kills 2 Pegasus Knights who are caught in the crossfire, and does about 25% HP damage to them as well. So look at that. These 2 guys shot straight from the saddle from that Star Dragon breath, and we're going to start seeing a good charge coming off from these Questing Knights, and then we're going to see all of my Lothern Sea Guard change and target down these Pegasus Knights immediately. Even though they're going to get charged by cavalry or whatever, I need them to start firing in, because I got really scared for my Lord, but then I'm like, wow, my Lord's doing okay, right? Like, a lot of this damage is coming straight from him attacking these people, not even from the Lothern Sea Guard, but they do help quite a bit, because every single arrow that hits obviously counts as something, right? So all my abilities pop, and my Lord was hitting for 783 damage right there. That's a lot of damage So right here, these foot squires getting pulled in, so I pull in my Phoenix Guard to help out these white lines of trace because I realized these Questing Knights got that regrowth casted on them, the upgraded version, so they have 44% physical resistance on top of their 80 armor. And then right here, cast the Earth Blood off and an extended cast on them too, so I'm kind of healing up my Lord as much as possible and all these units right here because I need them to hold for as long as possible to finish off the air fight. So right here, the Lord's getting away, so I'm like, we have to kill the king, so I use this Star Dragon Breath, and I'm just like, just finish the job there, guy, you know? Here we go. Here it comes, and the king's just like, ah, God. So he has 886 HP, and right here, oh, pause it. So he actually broke, but he lost that 20% physical resistance. I just want to show that right there. So he did lose it, and it's not going to come back ever. And now he's just going to die. So there he goes. Falls straight from the sky, splats on the ground, along with his Hippogriff. And right here, my Star Dragon's going to turn around and start reaping a nasty toll on these guys, hitting like 2 or 3 of them out of the saddle every single time. And my infantry's holding strong because these guys have quite good melee defense. I cast the Dwellers Below to try and soften up these 2 units, while my Phoenix Guard and Lothern Sea Guard are really spread out, so they're not taking too much damage. These guys were a little bit clumped up, so that's unfortunate. They got caught in the crossfire. But I'm going to be doing a lot of damage to all of his units right here, and these Grail Knights are about to rout. And actually, no, he just pulls them straight out right there. So they're going to keep that physical resistance, while these Phoenix Guard over here are just holding back the tide, fighting off 2 units of Foot Squires right here. So I rear charge with these other Phoenix Guards. So I'm like, how do you like it? 2-on-2, these dudes will not lose. These dudes won't lose even 2-on-1 against these guys, I don't think. They're so strong. Probably will lose 2-on-1, honestly, but like, there's so many factors going into it right now. They're going to be fine. So right here, my Lore of Life caster, my lady decides to start putting the smackdown on this damsel right here, who's actually caught between a couple other Phoenix Guard too, so she's not in a good spot. And over here, the Grail Knights are being taken out by the Star Dragon. These Pegasus Knights were wiped off the field by the Star Dragon, and that was it. My opponent decided to withdraw because there is nothing he could do to stop the Star Dragon once it decided to come back and wipe out his cavalry or whoever else, because as you can see, the cavalry was engaged against the Lothern Sea Guard, and they're taking quite heavy losses against them because they have that huge bonus versus large, and then I still have 2 full units of these Phoenix Guard, as well as this very healthy unit of White Lions of Trace over here, so there's just nothing he could do to stop them after that was all said and done for. So yeah, very good kills on these guys. These guys got charged in the face by those Questing Knights and then hit by the Foot Squires, I'm pretty sure is what happened to these guys. So very unfortunate for them. 2 kills on them and the whole unit's gone, but you know, the rest of them performed quite good. And the Phoenix Guard did their job, and these Lothern Sea Guard got a lot of kills. Most of these kills are on cavalry, so very good shit right there. Because typically you just lose all your archers to cavalry, but right here, the cavalry was you know, tied up quite heavily against these guys, so very good stuff right there. Oh man, 25 kills on Pegasus Knights, Grail Knights, and the King himself. Very good stuff on the Prince. Sorry, King. You got wiped out today. So I know that was a short battle, so I have another one for you. It's going to be the Dark Elves versus the Empire. This again just shows off, you know, the brilliance of bringing a dragon and magic against any kind of isolated air unit. So Karl Franz is just unlucky to be in the air today against these 2 guys. He does have quite a few missile troops right there, 3 crossbowmen and a great cannon, so he could do something against me, but, you know, let's see how it plays out. We will see indeed what happens. He's a little bit quicker, it's taking a little bit. Ah, there he goes. Okay, come on. Come on. Come on. Please. Please. Oh my god. There he goes. Alright. Now we're going to get into this battle, and we're going to take a look at the Harganeth Executioners versus Great Swords. Like I said, you know, bonus versus infantry, bonus versus large, all that nonsense counts as armor-piercing damage. So these guys hit for 42 right now. How much is that 42? 29 of that is armor-piercing, and then 14 is a bonus versus infantry. So they're going to be hitting for a total of 43 armor-piercing damage versus infantry on top of that extra 13 damage. So they're hitting quite hard, you know? Total of how much? Let me see. So if they're hitting infantry, they get a total of 56 damage, as well as these Black Ark Corsairs, you know, very heavily armored, 80 armor, 28 weapon damage already, and then a bonus of 7 versus infantry. So against like state troops, like Spearmen and Swordsmen over here with, you know, 30 armor, 28 weapon strength, that's it. They're going to just mop the floor with these dudes, just come right in and just decapitate every single one of them. And then the crossbowmen are not going to be able to do too much work against my Dark Shards back here. I praise these dudes. Holy shit, that went way too far. They're not going to be able to do anything against these guys because if you take a look, they are shielded 55% shield, right? Against any kind of missile attack coming from the front, because the shield's always active, whether they're in melee or firing missiles off, they have this shield active all the time. So Thunderers, Handgunners, Quarrelers, Crossbowmen, Way Watchers, anybody shooting in against them, even other Dark Shards, it's going to be negated by 55%. And they're still going to be able to fire back unimpeded, because even Dwarf Quarrelers who have the shields on their back, or Dwarf Thunderers who have the shields on their back, it doesn't count, because they're not in melee when they have to be in melee when they actually pull out the shield for it to start blocking stuff, whereas these guys just constantly shoot. And they have armor-piercing attacks as well, so they will win a fight against Quarrelers, I'm pretty sure. Well, actually, yeah, I'm dead sure, because of the silver shield. That doesn't even matter. Armor piercing and a shield together against armored targets means nothing. So they're just gonna murder them. So this is gonna be an absolute just devastating frontline game against the Empire right here. These greatswords are pretty good because they have a bigger unit size than my Hargonath Executioners, but they don't hit nearly as hard, and they don't have nearly as much armor. Well, yeah, they do. 5 less armor, because these guys only have, what, 100? Yeah, so never mind. But Hargonath Executioners definitely hit harder and have better combat stats overall. So, yeah, well, they're definitely going to have to try very hard to beat through these Hargonath Executioners, especially because there's only 2 to my 3. And then I have other units that are going to outperform these guys quite heavily. So what I'm really worried about, though, is these Demigryph Knights with Halberds and these Reiksguard versus my unit of Cold One Knights over here. So Cold One Knights, I decided to bring them instead of Cold One Dread Knights, because they have a bonus versus large, going back to that, bonus counts as armor-piercing damage. So Cold One Dread Knights hit for 48 damage, and they have like 35 armor-piercing, but these guys hit for 44 armor-piercing damage versus large targets, which is what I was really using them for. And on top of that, don't lose too much armor, like 20 or something like that. So they're still really heavily armored, still hit really hard, and I shoveled them up to gold too, so not losing out on too much melee stats either. So we'll see how everything plays out. And then over here for my dragon, got the Dreadlord, Sword and Shield. We have the Hydra Blade right here, and we have the Shield of Grond, which minus 12% weapon damage for anybody nearby, plus 5 melee attack for myself, anybody nearby. And then we have the Noxious Breath, of course. And then right here we have a Sorceress, excuse me, kind of, I don't even know, I just had like a speech impediment there for a second. She's got the, what is it called? Occam's Mind Razor, I believe it is, and the Enfeebling Foe. So if I put both of these out, because if you actually upgrade this, it's an area of effect. So everybody gets 40% armor-piercing damage and 40% weapon damage on top of Feebling Foe. If I were to pop it on Karl Franz, he would just be having an absolute nightmare of a time. So 27 melee defense and 27 melee attack gone, and 80% weapon damage and 80% armor-piercing damage. If I popped a Hydra Blade and Occam's Mind Razor on this guy, would be absolutely devastating. So we'll see if we can get that combo off. And this Lore of Heavens caster over here has Common to Cassandora, Curse of Midnight Wind, Harmonic Convergence, and the Power Stone. So good spells coming out of him. Might be able to help Karl out in the air, because Karl does have Galmaraz, which will increase his armor-piercing damage by 40%. So he'll be hitting about 700 damage or so, because he has quite a lot. My Lord got tagged by a single cannonball right there, and I'm like, alright, fuck that. So we're just going to kind of skip along the tree line right here. I was trying to bait out a few more shots by not going deep into the forest, so I could kind of like stutter step and just kind of move forward like in a zigzag pattern and dodge the cannonballs, but he decided against that. And then over here, my Cold One Knights are actually going to get caught by the Demigryph Knights with Halberds over here and just run through, because they don't charge, they just sit there and just get ran over, because I was busy microing everything else. So right here, Karl's like, oh, I can win this, no big deal, I got Deathclaw, got Galmaraz coming in here happy, good stuff. But if you take a look, these crossbowmen, they're doing alright right now, but they're going to take a lot of damage. That wasn't a very good volley, but that's going to be a good volley. They're going to take a lot of damage right here. Okay, like 400 damage, while these guys, every single shot that hits, 55% of them is being blocked. And then those that do hit, they still have better armor than the Empire crossbowmen on top of that fact too. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a breath attack off right here, but it kind of goes all crazy because he gets like, stuttered right there. And I cast the Occam's Mind Razor, and then the Hydra Blade's gonna go off as well. So my Lord's damage is gonna go through the roof for sure. And Galmaraz, I think, gets popped for Karl Franz and Harmonic Convergence pretty soon too. So there goes the Hydra Blade. So 936 damage for my Lord versus the 566 for Karl Franz, even with Galmaraz. Wow, that's pretty pitiful. I'm sorry. So Karl Franz is getting eaten alive, and right here my Dreadlord is getting focused down by all of these crossbowmen. But at this point, his front line is dead. Like they're gone. These guys are being decapitated all over the place by these Black Ark Corsairs, just like I knew they would be. And we're just running through his lines right now, so these crossbowmen that were helping him win the fight against the Dreadlord are now no longer here. And the Sorceress, with her high speed, is just going to chase off Carl and get the final blow on him. And there he goes, tumbles to his death, just like in the lore versus that Vampire Dragon. Then he just, like, you know, stands back up because he's got that Silver Seal. He's like, ah, I'm fine. Over here, get a breath attack off against these Reiksguard, gonna charge them as well. Trying to keep my Dark Shards alive, and then I'm gonna try and charge these Demigryph Knights because this is actually a pretty good engagement for me. These guys have lots of armor-piercing damage versus these dudes. They're gonna do pretty well against them because they have such a high model count against them. And then overall, that's pretty much it for this battle too. Like, I just washed over him with my infantry, and I really won that air engagement. And once he lost his Lord, I mean, that was it. He didn't have Lord anymore. The air power was for me to take. Just put my Lord wherever I wanted, and right here was a perfect place for me to put it because all these guys got distracted with all the infantry all around it. So any units that were gonna hit my Lord, we're gonna like only hit like, you know, once or twice compared to like a full 11 of them hitting for like 70 damage because these guys have a bonus versus large of like 20. So yeah, that was it. It's the end of the battle. Dreadlord right here looking very mighty. Harganeth Executioners probably did amazing. Let's see, 103, 115, 100 kills on these Black Ark Corsairs right here. 11, 3, 2, 3, 1, 15, 37, 27. So all of his infantry just did nothing. These Reiksguard did amazing because they shut down the Dark Shards in the back. And these guys did really good too because anything that hits gonna die immediately pretty much. The cannon didn't do anything. It was like blocked the whole time, targeting the wrong stuff the whole time. The wizard tried to help out Karl Franz, put a big spell on him, and then just immediately he died. And then this guy was just like, well, that was all my magic, so, you know, that's it. And then that was pretty much it. So, you know, everything in my army pretty much outperformed against him. These guys did more damage to the crossbowmen than they could against them. These guys, sadly, did get eaten alive. If I could have got that charge bonus off, probably would have helped a little bit more against these Demigryph Knights and softened up the kills they did against me. 82. I thought it was 52. Shit. I swear to God that was 52, like, 3 seconds ago. Now it's 82. I don't know if I just completely misread that or what. But that's gonna be it for today, guys. You know, I hope you enjoyed what you saw. You know, so leave a like if you like what you saw, subscribe if you want to see more, and leave a comment down below if you want to see a certain army versus a certain other army from Old World to New World, Old World versus Old World, New World versus New World, whatever the fuck. You know, just let me know. I'll do it. And also, stay tuned. Hey, calm down over there. Sorry, talk complaining. Stay tuned for updates from Total War as well because they will be releasing the Regiments of Renown for all the factions that did just recently get them for the 30th anniversary, and they will be re-releasing Norska for the Warhammer 2 game, and we'll be giving them their Regiments of Renown back as well. So, you know, that's it for today, guys. So I hope you like what you saw. So, catch y'all later.